All right, everyone, welcome back into another Fantasy Golf video. Going to be breaking down the 2025 PGA Championship, giving you guys everything that you need to know for this tournament, as well as giving you guys the best picks and bets for this week. Let's go ahead and get into it. Now, we do need to go ahead and get into a quick recap from last week, guys. Last week, we were able to hit Substraka at 45-1. Obviously, a pretty good week there in general. It seemed like it was going to be a solid week, and that ended up being the case. Same thing with the Myrtle Beach Classic, where for PGA DFS purposes, both weeks ended up being pretty darn good weeks. In terms of the outright bets, I do want to call this out because this is something that has been looking pretty good for us thus far this year, especially over the past 6 weeks. So each week on the 9 to 5 write-up, I call out which golfers are considered good outright bets. Okay, if I want to call this AI outright bets, I could do that as well for buzzwords purposes, but this is just taking a measure of what the past year's winners were on the PGA Tour, like what data points led to them being winners pretty much, and then putting that into the list of which golfers are taking place that week. 5 out of the last 6 winners have been good outright bets, okay? Which is obviously pretty good. And if you look at the leaderboard from last week, guys, Seb Straka was on that list, Justin Thomas, Shane Lowry, Patrick Cantlay, Bridgman was not, and then Tommy Fleetwood was as well. So 5 of the 6 good outright bets from last week were right there on top of the leaderboard. Again, that's been actually 5 out of the past 6 weeks as well. I actually didn't look back at later dates. Like it probably is more than that. I saw the past 6. I was like, all right, that's good. 5 of the past 6 winners have been good outright bets. We can roll with that. And so we go ahead and get into the tournament preview for this week. It is the PGA Championship that is being played at Quail Hollow. Xander Schauffele is actually going to be the defending champ of this tournament, but he also has tremendous course history, which we'll touch on in just a second. So yes, the PGA Championship is being played at a course in which we have seen played on the PGA Tour a decent amount. We saw it last year as Wells Fargo Championship, as well as in 2023. Last year, Rory actually ended up winning this event. Xander finished second at it, at the Wells Fargo Championship, I should say, at this course. Wyndham Clark was also a winner, in which Xander Schauffele finished second at that event. And then actually the tournament, the Wells Fargo Championship, did not take place at Quail Hollow because the President's Cup was going on that year. Team USA ended up winning that year as well. Jordan actually played extremely well at that event. We shouldn't really care about the results from the President's Cup. For the most part, it is a completely different format. You're obviously playing a team or, playing someone else. It's just different. Like, sure, if someone played well, it's not a bad thing to look at. Like, it's a good thing. It's a cherry on top. No, it's not even that. It's like the sprinkles on top. Okay, it's not something that we should really draw any conclusions on too much. Maybe if you're trying to find a 50-50 decision like between two golfers, you could look at that, but for the most part, don't pay any attention to that. It shouldn't be worthwhile. And then again in 2021, because again we had to take off that year, Rory won it as well. So fascinating stuff here, right? We have major champions that have won on this event, recent major championships, Wyndham Clark, Rory, and obviously Xander has played extremely well at this track as well. It's actually the home course to Mackenzie Hughes, who finished top 10 at this event last year at the Wells Fargo Championship, last year. And also has 3 out of 4, his last 4 events have been top 10 finishes. So there's a lot to get into. I'm excited to touch on it. And so the nice thing about the PGA Championship being played at this course is we know what to expect, and we actually have some pretty good course history to go off of as well. Now, because we only have really the last 2 years in terms of course history that I really love to look at, we are also looking at that 2021 event as well, where obviously Rory won it. But for H4, okay, so last week we had to do comp course history because it was a new course, and because of that we had to kind of figure out maybe what key stats we're looking at, and because of that we're looking at comp courses, which, man, ended up being pretty spot on with that. I know a lot of people were maybe trying to target like driving distance a little bit more than they were. No, ended up being more right. That felt pretty good. Honestly, have that good week. I don't know. Those weeks are fun, guys, where you have to dive into a little bit too much, more weeks where we see a course where we've seen a bunch. I don't know. It gets a little bit redundant. Like, we know what we're looking at. It's just whether or not the golfers ended up playing well and doing what they're expected to do on paper and whatnot. And that's kind of what we have this week. But for H4 here, course history 4. We're actually going to be looking at the last 4 majors is what we're looking at there. Okay, so the Masters, the recent Masters, obviously. Then we're looking at the US Open, the Open, and the PGA Championship. Okay, so just want to look at the last 4 starts at majors for these golfers and see how they produce there as well. What we're going to see is Xander's pretty clearly one of the best options, guys. Second, 14th at this course. And then, yes, has been playing extremely well at majors. Patrick Green and Bryson being tossed in there as well, obviously, but they've been on live for the past few seasons. And for what's worth, let's get into the live golfers as well. So guys, the biggest issue with majors are going to be the live golfers. Okay, at the 2025 Masters tournament, given DFS purposes and even betting purposes as well, I pretty much said the only golfer we can really be on is going to be Patrick Reed due to his pricing. He's the only live golfer I want to go out of my way to target because of that. And that ended up holding up true. The biggest issue with live golfers specifically is on average, they are not finishing as good as they typically do on the live tour. So typically speaking, they're finishing about 7 spots worse. Now that is dated back to last year. Okay, I didn't update that from the Masters tournament. But the overall conclusion is that they're typically not as good of options. And so typically speaking, they are harder to rank. And so with that, I typically am just using basic logic for them as golfers. Like I'm not updating the live stats because again, it's not really worth it too much because we'd have to be penalizing them a little bit because, again, they just don't finish as well there. So, like, Bryson, we're going to be on naturally. Bryson does play well, obviously at majors and whatnot. We're going to be on him. And then from there, we're going to figure it out. Okay, so just wanted to call that out as well. But yes, from there, we do have like Terrell Hatton, who's a live golfer that has played well at this event, 3rd. Okay, he's the most recent big name live golfer to head on over there, finished 3rd at this event just 2 years ago, like that there from him. Surprising player, Harris English, pretty good stuff there. And it's worth calling out, guys, that they did turn this Wells Fargo Championship into a signature event last year. So, a golfer finishing 34th like Harris English, not really all that good, honestly. It's kind of another wrinkle to this, which I don't exactly like, but we're calling that up. We do have a lot of golfers that have at least experienced this course and have played this course pretty darn well as well. That's the biggest thing we want to be looking at. And so let's go ahead and get into the golfers that are the best stat fits. Again, guys, the nice thing about this week is we know who the top stat fits are and what the key stats are as well. And so the key stats that we're looking at here, guys, the stats that have led to players being successful at Quail Hollow in the past is going to be bogey avoidance, ball striking, greens gained, and then effective scoring, which is that 9 to 5 stat, which basically measures a golfer's ability to both play well but also make the cut. We're factoring in there as well. Now, this course did add in about 70 yards of length. Whether or not it actually ends up playing that way, we'll see, because obviously they can change tee boxes and whatnot depending on the weather for that week, so we don't exactly know for sure. But I'm going to be looking at like total driving as key stat number 5 as well, just getting a little bit more of that driving distance in there a little bit because it is a longer track. Like we don't want to ignore that. But these are the top 4, and it's pretty clear these are like the top 4. So looking at that, Scotty Scheffler, number 1, Seb Straka, last week's winner for us. We'll talk about what to do with him in just a second. Kyle Morikawa, Rory, Keith Mitchell, first round lead. Keith Mitchell, just a stud first round leader wise. He is priced extremely cheap this week, guys. It's pretty crazy. Patrick Cantlay, Justin Thomas, Daniel Berger, Russell Henley. So a lot of familiar names for us thus far this year. Now let's go ahead and get into the golfers that are in the best recent form as well. Then we'll get into the favorite. So yes, the golfers that are in the best recent form. Again, these live golfers don't really care about too much. Okay, it's nice to see. So Terrell Hatton, had been playing pretty well. Do have some DP Tour starts mixed in there as well with him, but nice to see that. John Kiefer, one start going in there, so don't go too crazy with that, just as an FYI. But then Corey Connors. Corey Connors has been playing great golf. 10 straight make cuts, multiple top 10 finishes mixed in there, guys. Just extremely good. This 49th place finish was clearly just an outlier there. Unfortunate that happened, but clearly just an outlier. JT's obviously playing great golf. He's going to be interesting. Shane Lowry still playing great golf. Multiple top 10 finishes for him again over his last 7 starts. Daniel Berger playing great golf. What's interesting here is I want to talk about Xander, and we'll talk about him to start off the favorites section. Now, as we get into Xander, we do have to talk about his Champions Dinner. What I find so funny about the golf community is that people are complaining that this was shared or that's even a thing. It's like, come on, guys, this is fun. Let golf have fun. It's not a bad thing. Like, people were dogging on the TGL before it happened. I'm like, it's going to be fun. Just let us have fun. It's going to be fun. Just let it happen. Okay, so this is fun. Pretty awesome meal, though. I mean, like, shout out to Xander for the pretty awesome meal there. Love to see that there. New York strip, I mean, that's probably something I would have dessert wise. A banana split, can't go wrong with that. Shortcake, gotta love that as well. Xander's my favorite player. I think you guys know that. That's why I was partially on him last year at the PGA Championship as well for outright. But this isn't just like a love affair take here with Xander. Let's get into like him as a play. So it is fascinating. He is like having the quietest start to the season, and I know it's simply because he was banged up to start the season, and it's not that fun to talk about him when you got Rory playing so well, Xander just won, JT just won. You know, there's some big name players winning events and whatnot. Bryson's still there, YouTube Bryson's still there. But look at this, guys. I mean, he had been playing terrible, honestly, like at the start of the season, again, because he was injured. But since the Players' Championship, 12th, 8th, 18th, and 11th. Okay, so he's playing some pretty darn good golf heading into this event. I mean, that's pretty crazy, right? Like, you wouldn't think that based off of the lack of coverage that he has gotten. Okay, and we look at that course history, guys, second, 14th, and then also in terms of majors, average finish of 4th. I mean, the guy is spectacular, right? Key stat-wise, again, because we're looking at the stats from this year, 50th, right? We don't love that. But again, he has been playing better recently, which is really what we care about. He has the longest made cut streak on the PGA Tour as well. Recent form-wise, even with that kind of poor-ish form, 20th in the field. Specialist, second best specialist in the field. So everyone knows by now what that means. It's taking all the unique characteristics for that week's tournament and putting it into one data point, and he ranks second in there. The only thing you might struggle with is the green speeds and location. North Carolina events slightly struggles. 62nd. Don't love that. But other than that, basically everything we would want there, guys. So Xander Schauffele, I do really love him. Okay, and because of his pricing, I think that's the biggest thing we need to talk about. Like, you can get him at like 20-1. I think that's a good starting point for outright bets because you got Scotty and Rory for DFS purposes that are extremely high priced. Honestly, for betting purposes, I do not hate them. Okay, obviously Rory has played this event extremely well with 2 wins. He's the defending Masters champ, Players champ as well. He's just playing great golf. As simple as that. You know, Zero Classic, we don't really care about that start as well. And then last week, a 7th place finish. So pretty darn good stuff there for him. You can get him at 4-1, 5-1 on BetMGM. Okay, so this is another one of those interesting weeks where I've said this a bunch now. There's been a bunch of weeks where it's like, all right, we're probably betting on Scotty, we're probably betting on Rory, but if you're doing that, you're only maybe betting on one other golfer, maybe 2 other golfers, okay? And I still think that could apply this week. And the fact that we can get Scotty and Rory at 5-1 is somewhat appealing for outright purposes. For DFS purposes, the issue with them is we can only really play one of them in a build. So they are players you can pay up for, but because they're so high priced for DFS purposes, I think I would rather just go with Xander, who's extremely cheap. Now, again, with Scotty, you can get him at 4.5-1 on BetMGM, Bet Online 5-1, so pretty good stuff there. Worth calling out, guys, that he's in the best recent form, best stat fit, and he is the top ranked player this week. So through and through, going to be just a stellar option. Both of them are clearly the best options. Now, from there, it is tough to figure out what to do with Bryson. I think you can just kind of end up on him. I think his odds are a little bit too low at 9-1. Don't exactly like that there. Wish they were a little bit better, but obviously been playing great golf. Bear, he's too priced up, right? I mean, it's just crazy what they're doing. Now, this is a lot of name value here. There's no reason why he should be priced really above Patrick Cantlay. It's super strange. The only exception that you can make is that poor form has not actually mattered at all. Okay, because he had poor form going into this win at the Farmers Insurance Open. Ended up winning there. At the Masters tournament, terrible form, right? Miscut, 77th, 7th at the Masters, so good stuff there. And now he's won 54, 60. So he's clearly just a stay away. If he ends up, having a spike week just randomly, I'm okay with that. He's basically like a reverse live golfer where he's playing good on these bigger events and bad on other events. So easy stay away. And so that's how I come to the conclusion where if we're paying up for a golfer, I do think we're just paying up for Xander. I feel like that is a pretty clear option for us. From there, I don't mind Colin Morikawa. I think he's fine. John Rahm, I think he's fine as well. I do not get the pricing though for Justin Thomas. Okay, Justin Thomas pricing is strange. So he has been someone that obviously has been playing well recently. Okay, so second at last week's tournament, 1 at the RBC Heritage, 2nd at Valspar, 9th at the Farmers Insurance Open. Just been playing great golf. Okay, he has 18 straight make cuts on the PGA Tour. Hasn't exactly fared all too well at majors. We would like that to be better, but this is a course that should suit his eye, given the fact that he finished 21st. Okay, again, that was a signature event. Not exactly the best finish there, but still not terrible. 14th and 26th. So he does have good course experience. We'll take that. 6th best recent form, 7th best stat fit, 10th best specialist. For DFS purposes, the fact that we can get him at this number is pretty crazy. And also the fact that you can get him at 22-1 on DraftKings feels pretty darn good as well. And so really, you could just bet on Scotty, Rory, Xander, and JT and just be done with your betting card. As simple as that. Now, we are going to get some golfers that have some better, longer numbers that I like as well, and we'll touch on those in just a second. From there, guys, I do like Patrick Cantlay. Patrick Cantlay has just been playing some pretty darn solid golf through and through. He has 16 straight make cuts, like that. Course history could be better. That's the biggest concern. But I do think at 9.5, he's like the cheapest safe upside option that we have, if that makes sense, where you feel pretty comfortable about him not hurting you, and he's most likely going to help you. Okay, he's coming in with some pretty good form now. 4th last week, 13th, 36th, 33rd, 12th, 31st, 5th. So the biggest issue with Cantlay is there have been a few weeks in here where he hasn't paid off his price tag, but he's still making the cut. And this is a week where I do think if you get 6 for 6 across the cut line, we're going to be sitting pretty, and I do think he's going to be someone that helps you do that given his price tag. With someone like Shane Lowry, the biggest question is where is he at mentally after last week? Don't love that. Tommy Fleetwood, I do like at his price tag as well. It's certainly going to be an appealing click as well. Strong course history, good recent form, really easy to get to him as well. But let's go ahead and get into the dark horse tier. So I don't know exactly what to do with Russell Henley this week. Russell Henley was a letdown last week, finishing 46th. After a good opening round, just struggled after that. He is someone that is a good stat fit, but now his form is a little bit spotty. So 46th, 8th, 53rd, 3rd, 1st, 6th, 39th. So a little bit spotty there. Don't exactly like that. I think the price tag is warranted. At the same time, I do expect him to make the cut as well. As possible local ties as well. So that also bodes well for him this week. So from there, guys, we are getting a clearly mispriced play, I would say, in terms of Corey Connors, in terms of how well he has been playing. Again, looking at someone like Aubert and Corey Connors, Connors is a better play on paper, and he has been basically the whole year. And I know Aubert has won once. I get that. But man, the form has been phenomenal with Connors, and this is just more drawing attention. That take is more drawing attention to how well he has been playing, guys. 3rd at the Arnold Palmer Invitational. Love that. 6th at the Players. 8th at the Valspar. Top 10 at the Masters, and then 11th place last week. So playing great golf. You can get him at 75 to 1 on FanDuel. And so that is why, to me, he is going to be a core play this week, guys. And I do like his outright odds at 75 to 1. Just a clear-cut, good price tag for us this week. And so, yes, I'm going to be getting to him in DFS and outright-wise as well. So maybe if you're making 5 bets, you can get to him as well outright-wise. And then from there, like GPP-wise, I don't mind Sunjam. I think he's fine. Patrick Reed, I actually think is perfectly fine as well as a play. Again, I do like his price tag a decent amount. Seb Straka, I would want to get to if he was not coming in off of a win. I'm a little bit concerned about that, especially with it being, kind of a grinded out type win as well. I'm a little bit worried about that. So we'll go ahead and jump on into the low tier golfers. Guys, Daniel Berger is again looking like a stellar click this week. So Daniel Berger was a core play for us last week in this video. Finished 11th. So he continued the good form that he was in. Obviously had a 3rd place finish at the RBC Heritage, just playing good golf. He hasn't made a start at this course over the last 4 years, so don't exactly love that. That's the biggest concern. The lack of course experience, again, at this course over the last 4 years. But he is ranking, guys, top 10 in recent form and as a top 10 stat fit. Okay, just playing great golf, hitting the ball extremely well. I do expect him to make the cut. Do I want to bet on him at 110 to 1? If I'm avoiding, let's say, Rory and Scotty, I could theoretically get to him at 110 to 1. Given the form that he's in, guys, 8th best form in the field and this 8th best stat fit, that's pretty darn crazy, right? That should not be happening. So a clear good number. I mean, look at some of the Eurobooks. They're much better with him. Like 60 to 6 to 1, I think is much more suited. So the fact that you can get him at 110 to 1 on FanDuel is interesting there. I think, again, if you're not betting on Rory and Scotty, a good number to get to. From there, guys, Sam Burns is appealing. Siwoo Kim's appealing. Tony Finau with the length is a little bit appealing. But Keegan Bradley, again, I like targeting golfers that provide both safety and upside for DFS purposes. And Keegan Bradley is that. So he missing the cut at the Masters, didn't love that, but has been playing pretty darn well this season for the most part. Does have the course experience here as well, like that, guys. So 21st, 35th, and 18th. So like that there from him. Really just top 25 or better in all the key metrics that we look at. And so the price tag at 7.2 does seem to be a little bit too cheap. That should not be happening. And so now let's go ahead and get into the values. So value-wise, guys, Danny McCarthy is a player that sticks out to me as well. Danny McCarthy has made 16 straight make cuts now, does have pretty darn good course history here, a 6th and an 8th place finish. So that goes back to the bogey avoidance, right? He ranks out 7th in the field in bogey avoidance. I think that does point to how well he's played at this tournament. 21st best specialist in the field, 31st best, stat fit, 33rd in recent form. So overall, just a pretty good play in terms of like maybe doing studs and duds. If you're doing that, Danny McCarthy is a click that I just think we should begin to. You could also point to someone like Harris English. I think he's a stellar click as well. Jaeger's interesting, making 7 straight cuts, including a top 10 finish last week, and also does have fine course history. But I want to talk about, a couple of interesting golfers. So like JT Poston, certainly interesting. He's a golfer that is, let's see what the tag says, very likely to have course ties. Okay, so like that aspect for him. Hasn't exactly led to good course history though. 60th, 81st, and then 26th. So don't love that there from him. But he has been playing some great golf, guys. 12 straight make cuts for him. 23rd last week. 35th at the Zurich. Again, don't care too much about that. And then 11th, 42nd, 26th, 28th, 33rd. So the reason why you be getting to him is his price tag. 6.4 is certainly too cheap. But again, we do have another, like, I don't, this one's weird. Keith Mitchell. So what's going on here? Okay, we know he's been like one of the best staff hits in the field each and every week, and he does, produce mostly good results, especially in the first round, right? But 5th best staff in the field, 26th best form in the field, does have course experience where you finished 3rd at this course as well, 59th as well. Don't exactly like that, but playing great golf. And again, an extremely good staff hit. Good form as well, guys. 7th, 35th at the Zurich, so we could just X that off if you guys wanted to. Then a 2nd, then a 12th, then an 18th. I mean, phenomenal form. Why is he priced this? Again, I'm not saying we should. I know he's more of a big game hunter if you want to call him that. But is there a difference between Keith Mitchell and Ludwig Aubert besides name value? It's insane. And again, yes, I'm doing that to be a little bit dramatic. Okay. Yes, I would much rather be on Aubert than Keith Mitchell. But why the freak is the pricing that different? It is crazy. I mean, weird. I mean, Keith Mitchell is clearly the most mispriced. He should be at least $1,000 more expensive. I don't get it. It's strange. Even if he sucks this week, even if he misses the cut and finishes dead last, at this price tag, simply the correct click, especially if you're getting one of, maybe even 2 of Scotty and Rory. That's how cheap the pricing is with someone and a good play like Keith Mitchell. It's strange. Shouldn't be happening. And then we do have a local golfer in the field that has finished top 10 at this tournament and has 3 top 10 finishes over his past 4 starts. That's going to be golfer Mackenzie Hughes. Yes, he's a Canadian golfer, but he currently lives in, I believe, Charlotte, North Carolina. So, extremely likely to have ties here. And I think that points to him finishing top 10 at this event last year. And guys, 3 top 10 finishes over his past 4 starts. That's amazing. Lost in a playoff last week at the Myrtle Beach Classic. Oh, it's the Myrtle Beach Classic. Who cares about it? Oh, well, like he still was tied for the lead heading into the last. I mean, that's pretty good. You look at the CJ Cup, Byron Nelson. He shot -4, was actually tied for 11th after the first round. Just didn't have a good round in round 3. That happens. We can kind of write that off, especially given the fact that he has finished 3rd and 10th prior to that, and then followed it up with the 2nd place finish. Playing some pretty darn good golf there. Okay, and I'm not, again, you don't need to do this, but the fact that he's 300 to 1 on FanDuel with like the only golfer that like has local ties that finished top 10 and has multiple top 10 finishes, I mean, that's a very good number that's hanging out there. Again, he could, like, long shot wise, it's tough to get a better number than that. It just is. Like, if you slap Tommy Fleetwood, I forget which major it was. It's like 5 years ago. Tommy Fleetwood was it's not exactly a 1-for-1 swap, but he was playing on a somewhat home course for him. It was somewhat of the same narrative. And like Tommy Fleetwood was like 75 to 1. Some of the same narrative. Don't mind Mackenzie Hughes here as well. So with that, guys, let's go ahead and get into the core plays for this week. I already mentioned one of them. Corey Connors, one of the core plays, given his price tag, just easy to get to him. From there, Keith Mitchell, again, just given the price tag for him, I do find that interesting. Do I see myself betting on him outright-wise? Probably not, but maybe we get to him as a first-round lead as well. I was not on him last week for a first-round leader bet, but have been on him twice already for his first-round wins as well already. So that's been nice. Core play number 3, Daniel Berger at his price tag. Again, just feels pretty darn good. Top 10 staff hit, top 10 in recent form. Really like that there from him as well. Just as an FYI, the asterisk there, that's referring to the majors history over the last 4 majors. That's what we're looking at there. And then core play number 4, again, given his pricing, I think Xander is a player that'll be ending up on a lot, again, just due to all the value that we have out there. And so kind of just looking at that, guys, if we just put those 4 players into a build, we still have 8.4 left over. And so with that, you could theoretically get to a play like JT and still have 7K left over, which again, given some of the pricing that we have out there, very easy to do. And so I don't mind getting to Patrick Cantlay. I think he'd be next on my list in terms of players I would want to be on, like core play wise. Just again, given his pricing, does feel pretty safe. And then from that, could get to another somewhat safe play in Keegan Bradley. That feels pretty darn good. I really don't mind that route. But I do want to see if we can make a decent logical build with Scotty and Rory. So going Denny McCarthy, going Keith Mitchell. And we are getting sub 6K plays. So we could get to some. Maybe like Lucas Glover, maybe Ryan Gerard. Obviously, Mackenzie Hughes then becomes an interesting click in that mix. And then we have 5.9 left over to the point where we can get, an okay golfer. Glover, Ackroyd, Maybe Kevin Yu, maybe Gary Woodland. Olsen is interesting, guys. 7th, 29th, and 5th over his last few starts. I'm perfectly fine with that as well, so we can close that out. And so that's the thing, guys. You can make some pretty interesting lineup paths work, even including Scotty and Rory, and you're still getting, two golfers that shouldn't be priced that way. And then Mackenzie Hughes, which just is an educated, it's a good GPP play. And then Olsen, just hoping that he continues that good form that he's been in. Now, this is my thoughts. Let's go and see what the 9-to-5 lineup builder likes. And so, guys, just as an FYI, the 9-to-5 lineup builder is available for 9-to-5 members, included in the $10 monthly membership. If you guys are interested in signing up, head on over to the pricings and plans tab. Everything on the site is available, include in that membership for $10 a month. So include that as the fantasy golf tools like the cheat sheet, plus much more, as well as props betting tools for PrizePicks and Underdog. I know a lot of people were telling me in the chat that they had a very good week props betting wise as well using that. So like that there, but let's just go ahead and take a peek here. So as always, we need to give this 2 data points to go off of. So just going to bump up Rory and Sky's projection by 1, kind of just rounding up. We're going to click generate. And again, this is just to give you guys a general feel of what the data is telling us to do lineup pathwise. And so if we go ahead and zoom in here, guys, so it is getting to Rory, Tommy Fleetwood, who I do like, Keegan Bradley, Denny McCarthy, Corey Connors, and JJ Spawn. I do like that. I think that's a fine lineup path to go with. Some other ones that we could go with as well. Let's see here, like Justin Thomas, Rory Substraka. Like, okay, and we get it. There's a lot of good golfers to be in. I do like this week. That does look pretty darn good to me. But again, that's going to do it for this video. Make sure to give a like and subscribe to the channel. That does really help out the video a lot this week as well, guys, because there's a lot of new people probably paying attention to fantasy golf content. Your like does go a long way. If you guys are new to the channel, feel free to subscribe to the channel as well. Do show other people that give fantasy golf content as well some love this week, guys. Again, it's a big week for me. It's a big week for them as well. If you guys are interested in joining 9-to-5, again, the membership is only $10 a month. Take advantage of that, guys. Thanks for watching. Good luck with all your bets and plays this week in PGA DFS and fantasy golf. That's all. Thanks for watching. Good luck. And as always, let's keep cashing.